Good morning, fourth graders. It's lesson 27 or job 27. It is Sunday, October 25th, and we're going to continue our lesson on the family of Jacob. Okay, we're also starting a whole new series of lessons called GTF or God the Father, a strong framework. Okay, we've talked about building our foundation on God the Father, building our life on Him. After a house has a foundation, you start building the framework for the walls, right? And so once you start building your house, you have to, get the house the size and shape you need by putting the framework, the framing, the 2x4s, the wood work, okay? This is how we're going to talk about how GTF, okay, is that framework for our lives. He shapes our lives in a way to show us how much He loves and cares for us. Okay, so this morning, we're going to talk about how GTF saves us. Okay, and we're going to learn this through a boy named Joseph. Okay, we have been in the book of Genesis, right? And we left off with Jacob and Esau, brothers. Jacob was scared to see his brother again, okay? Because when he was younger, he had tricked Esau and made him very, very upset. Okay, but Esau forgave his brother. And here they are in the land of Canaan again, okay, living with their families. And Jacob actually learned a lesson that wasn't a great lesson to learn when he was younger. Okay, you remember his family kind of played favorites, right? His father, Isaac, had a favorite son. That was Esau. His mother, Rebecca, had a favorite son, and that was him, Jacob, okay? And so now that he's grown and has sons of his own, he actually has a favorite son, okay? How well did that work out last time? Do we know? Not very well, okay? Well, Joseph is Jacob's favorite son from his favorite wife, Rachel, okay? Obviously, this is not good for parents to show favorites. It doesn't work out very well. Okay, and in our scripture, we found out that because Jacob showed favoritism to Joseph, there were going to be problems in his family. Okay, and of course, that means that Joseph's brothers were probably jealous, and they were. Okay, so I'm going to go through with this lesson showing pictures. Hopefully, that's okay. I think y'all are tired of looking at me in these videos, so this is how we're going to do it today. All right, these brothers. Here's Jacob talking to his favorite son, Joseph, all right? And they could tell, all the other brothers could tell that he was the favorite. And this jealousy grew into hatred, okay? And they couldn't even say kind words to Joseph at this point. They were so mad that he was the favorite. They absolutely couldn't stand him. They were annoyed by him, okay? And Joseph is about 17 years old, and he was kind of a tattletale, okay? He had given a bad report to his father about the brothers. Well, Jacob had made Joseph, because he was younger, the one to kind of go check on the brothers when they were working, and the brothers really did not like that, okay? It made them very, very angry. It made them so angry, also, that Joseph had this special gift from his father. You've probably heard this story before. It's the coat of many colors. It was an important thing to have a gift from your father, and because Joseph was the only one who received this gift, of course, another strike against Joseph from his brothers. Okay, there was another thing that caused the brothers to be jealous and hating their brother Joseph. Joseph had lots of dreams. Okay, he had special dreams, different from the way that you might dream. Okay, his dreams were coming from God the Father. Okay, Joseph told his brothers about this one dream that he had. Okay, he said, guys, listen, there were sheaves of grain or bundles of grain, and the sheaves, each one represented us, and all of your sheaves bowed down to my sheaf. And they, were thinking, okay, who do you think you are? Okay, why would we bow down to serve you, our younger brother? Okay, the custom in this time was that the oldest son, okay, would kind of be master over his other brothers. Okay, and those brothers would bow down to him or listen to him. But here's Joseph, the younger one, saying, you're going to bow down to me someday. Okay, here's the picture of the sheaves bowing down to his sheaf. He's like, what's the big deal, guys? This is my dream. Okay, and then he told him another dream. He's like, that's not even all. I've had other dreams too. Okay, I had a dream about the sun and the moon and stars who were bowing down to me. This made the brothers even more furious. Like, who does he think he is? Well, one day, Jacob told Joseph that the brothers were out with his sheep and he wanted Joseph to go check on them. Okay, so Joseph went. He listened to his father. He went to check on his brothers. He looked for them, but first they weren't where they were supposed to be. They weren't in Shechem. And he found out that they had taken the sheep over to a place called Dothan. So Joseph went over to Dothan. As soon as the brothers saw him coming, look at their faces. They said things like, there comes the dreamer now. Their feelings were high and they were getting angry just seeing him. Okay, well, he was off in a distance. They could see him coming up towards them, and they were going to plot against their brother. They started talking to each other. We just need to get rid of him. Okay, we have got to get rid of this dreamer. He is such a problem for us. We got to kill him. Okay, here we have another story of brothers wanting to kill, okay, another brother. One of the brothers does speak up and says, no, we don't need to kill him. Let's just throw him in a pit and then his blood won't be on our hands. Okay, he is our brother. Let's just throw him in a pit so he can't bother us anymore, but we don't need to kill him. This brother who said this was Reuben. The Bible tells us that Reuben had in his mind that he would just go back later and rescue Joseph. Well, a pit is kind of like a well, okay? It's deep. And back in those days, they would dig out a place to store water for camels and sheep and everything that would need water when the areas became dry. It would become really hard inside when it was dried out, like hard clay or stone maybe. But the sides would have been pretty smooth. There was no way he could crawl out. It was so deep and so smooth. And so that's what they did. Okay? Can you imagine Joseph realizing what his brothers wanted to do to him? He knew at this point they were really, really mad. Okay? And they're taking him. They're ripping his coat off of him. They throw him into the pit, okay? And, he believes they've left him there to die, okay? You can imagine how he felt, right? And then one of the other brothers had a different idea. As they were sitting there, they saw a caravan of traders, people that would come and, barter different items with other people, something that they wanted that someone else had, and they would trade. They were coming across the land, and Judah said, hey, let's make sure we are really rid of him and let's sell him as a slave. That way he doesn't die on our watch, doesn't die by our hands, and we also get rid of him. So they sold him as a slave to the Ishmaelites and they carried him off. Okay? And do you know to what country they took him? They took him to Egypt. Do you know what they sold him for? Only 20 pieces of silver. That was the price of a lame slave, okay? Not even the price of a good, strong slave. They just wanted to get rid of their brother so bad. They desperately wanted to get rid of him that they sold him for 20 pieces of silver, okay? And then they had to come up with a plan how to explain this to their dad. So they put the blood of a goat on his coat of many colors, and they didn't say what killed him. They did say that the coat was torn. Okay, they brought it to Jacob. They said, tell us, is this your son's coat? That special coat you gave Joseph? And Jacob, of course, said yes. He knew the coat. Okay, and he just assumed. He looked at it, he saw the blood, he saw the torn pieces, and he just knew he had been attacked by a wild animal. The other sons didn't say a word. They didn't tell Jacob a lie, but they didn't tell him the truth. They just let him think the worst. They presented his blood coat, and Jacob jumped to conclusions and just automatically assumed Joseph had been killed. Okay? Joseph had totally been taken advantage of by his brothers. He was close to being killed by his brothers. He was sold by his brothers. But who do we know is taking care of Joseph? God is taking care of Joseph. They could have easily killed him. God saved Joseph from his brothers, okay? It was all part of his purpose and his plan and his will that Joseph did not die. He kind of intervened in the heart of Reuben and Judah to take care of Joseph, that they did not kill him, that they did not leave him to die, but that he was sold to someone else, to a new country. And guess what? God was working in his life. God was working in the life of Joseph, and we are going to see just exactly how in our next couple of lessons. Okay? God is going to save Joseph, and God is going to end up saving lots of people besides just Joseph, because of Joseph and his skills in Egypt. All right, we're going to go ahead, come over here, and answer our questions. This was from Genesis 37, this scripture about Joseph and his brothers. Get the screen here. I'm going to see if I can zoom out. There we go. All right. GTF, a strong framework. Job site 27. Scripture, Genesis 37. Old Testament, Book of Law. GTF saves us. All right. You can pause at any time if you need more time. Why did Joseph's brothers hate him? First of all, their father, Jacob, loved Joseph more than his other sons. That's when they started to hate him most, when they started to realize that. What are 3 things that happened that caused the brothers to hate Joseph even more? Joseph told on his brothers. Now, I will say his father had told him to do that, but still, he chose to tell on his brother's bad behavior. He had all these special dreams that made them angry. And Jacob also gave Joseph that special coat that he didn't give to anybody else. What did the brothers plan to do to Joseph? Well, initially, they planned to kill him. How did God save Joseph? Which brother planned to rescue him? He saved Joseph from being killed by them coming up with the plan to throw him in the pit instead. Reuben is the one that decided this, the oldest brother. So let's just put him in that pit, and deep down inside he was thinking, I'll go back later and save him. Okay, so God first saved Joseph because of this. What was Judah's idea for getting rid of Joseph? So again, instead of leaving him in the pit for maybe too long, Judah decided they should just sell him as a slave for 20 pieces of silver. And of course, the brothers had to come up with another plan in order to hide this information from their father. So how did the brothers explain Joseph's disappearance to Jacob? They didn't really even explain it, did they? They showed him the coat dipped in the goat's blood, and they let him assume Joseph had died. So they did not tell the truth. They withheld information and allowed their father to assume the worst. Okay, that is all. We will continue the story of Joseph and his brothers. The story gets even crazier. Just stay tuned. I'm sure most of you know what happens next. You have to wait and see what becomes of Joseph in Egypt. That is where he is headed next. Bye, guys. Have a great day.